Our look at prospective presidential candidates continues tonight with a man who is definitely not your usual politician. Ben Carson rose from childhood in poverty in Detroit to become a world-renowned neurosurgeon and best-selling author. Now he's taking on an even greater challenge.
So complex. There is no one who can possibly comply with every jot and tittle of our tax. If I wanted to get you or you, I could get you on a tax issue. That doesn't make any sense.
For many conservatives, it was this moment in 2013, the keynote speech at the National Prayer Breakfast right next to President Obama, where Dr. Ben Carson made his mark in the world of politics.
We spend a lot of money on health care, twice as much per capita as anybody else in the world, and yet not very efficient.
A lot of people say that it was aimed at the president. It wasn't aimed at the president. It was just an articulation of what I felt was the state of our nation, truly.
2 years and 3 months after that moment came this one.
You say, well, who are you? I'll tell you. I'm Ben Carson, and I'm a candidate for President of the United States.
During his announcement and on the stump since, the retired neurosurgeon has tried to turn his lack of political experience into one of his biggest selling points.
I don't want to be a politician because politicians do what is politically expedient, and I want to do what's right.
What made you decide this is the moment? I need to run for president.
I think thinking about the next generations, you know, my whole professional career was centered around quality of life for children. And I must say I was looking very much forward to retirement after a very arduous career. My wife was really looking forward to it. But then I started thinking, can I just walk away with their future in jeopardy the way that it is? We're in such a critical situation right now that I can't just hope. I really need to do something.
Carson's been at the top of the pack of early GOP contenders in several polls. Are you surprised by that?
The people are frustrated. They're waking up and they have a lot more brains than people think they do. I can't tell you how many times I've faced situations where people say, you can't do that. No one's ever done that. If I listened to that stuff, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Carson also defied the odds after growing up in poverty in Detroit.
You get to decide whether you're going to be a victim or a victor. And the person who has the most to do with what happens to you in life is you. So, yeah, we had a horrible situation. There was never money for anything. But I discovered a new source of wealth. I discovered that between the covers of the books that I could get free of charge from the library, I could go anywhere. I could be anybody. I could do anything.
Carson met his wife Candy when they were students at Yale. They eventually moved to Baltimore, where as a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins, Carson became world-renowned for his ability to separate conjoined twins and to successfully perform the most complex brain surgeries, a job that also gave him a unique perspective on healthcare overall. Do you have one alternative for Obamacare?
I do. The principle, of course, is to put the care back in the hands of patients and healthcare providers. And that's why I proposed utilizing health savings accounts. You make it available to people at birth, right through life. And you can fund it with the very same dollars that we fund traditional insurance with. But where the real difference here is that I would allow people to shift money within their health savings account within their family.
He also advocates for allowing catastrophic insurance to be purchased across state lines, driving costs down, and to restructure Medicaid to allow for concierge practices to flourish and to empower the poor by giving them choices, because he does not like Obamacare. You said it was the worst thing since slavery.
Right, and it was a little hyperbolic, but the point that I was trying to make is that a lot of people are sleeping through what just happened. It fundamentally changed the relationship between the government and the people.
There have been other times in this campaign when Carson's words have raised some eyebrows.
a lot of people who go into prison straight, and when they come out, they're gay. So did something happen while they were in there?
I mean, there's one statement you made to CNN about homosexuals and prison that has gotten more play than anything else that you've said.
Right, because they saw that as the opportunity to finally knock this guy out. And they thought they had done it. Stick a fork in him, he's gone. They were jubilant. And now they say, I can't believe this guy's still here. Are you kidding me? And, you know, the whole homosexuality thing, I would just sort of summarize it by saying, you know, I would love for the gay community to answer this question for me. What position can a person take who has absolutely no animosity toward gay people, but believes in traditional marriage, that would be satisfactory to them? Very happy to compromise, but I haven't heard an answer to that yet.
But just to be clear, back to the statement, did you amend it? Did you say I was wrong?
Oh yes, I did. I came out and said that, you know, that was a boneheaded statement. I was actually, and I shouldn't have allowed my emotions into it, but, you know, I was a little bit irritated that he was equating, you know, the whole issue with the civil rights movement, because quite frankly I didn't remember any times when there were signs up that says, you know, everybody else here and gay people have to drink at this fountain. Or I was a little irritated, but I shouldn't have allowed that to enter into the discussion.
Most analysts say Carson is getting a lot of attention and is expanding the Republican brand, but likely has an uphill climb to the nomination.
I think his star has definitely been rising. His challenge is going to be proving that he can endure a presidential contest.
Ben Carson is a fascinating candidate who starts out with some intense support among Tea Party Republicans and social conservatives. Now, whether he can go beyond niche appeal will depend on whether he can convince people that, having never held any public office, he should start at the presidency.
What do you think is the number one issue facing the country right now?
There are three things that threaten to destroy us. And that's our divisiveness. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It is our fiscal irresponsibility that threatens to destroy the future quickly. And it is our failure to take a leadership role on the world stage, which allows the creation of many bad actors to fill that void. And for every day that goes by when we don't take a leadership role, it's going to cost us.
Economy, taxes, what would President Carson do?
I would want a tax structure that is truly fair. I would like to see a system that hits everybody basically in the same way, proportionately. So you make $10 billion a year, you pay $1 billion. You make $10 a year, you pay $1.
A flat tax between 10 and 15%, no loopholes, lower corporate taxes, and Carson would repatriate money companies have overseas.
A 6-month tax holiday so we can bring back the $2+ trillion overseas, with only one stipulation, and that is that 10% of it would have to be used for job creation.
You've conceded that you have to study up on foreign policy.
Absolutely.
I mean, you had an interview with Hugh Hewitt, and you mentioned the Baltic states getting involved in NATO, and they're involved in NATO.
I've been to the Baltic states. I've been around the whole Baltic Rim. I've been to 57 different countries. And I thought it was a little bit dishonest the way everybody jumped on that and said, oh, see, he doesn't know anything about the world. That was craziness. I'd be happy to debate people about that.
Carson sees ISIS in Iraq and Syria as a serious national security threat.
We have two choices. We can sit there and just kind of disregard them and say they're not that big and important. Or we can destroy them first using every mechanism available to us.
You know, we have this thing, Candidate Casino, on Special Report, and the panelists all put their $100 chips on different candidates.
Right.
They haven't put them on you yet.
I understand
There have been some viewers that have put some chips on you.
Yeah.
What do you say to the panelists about that?
I say the panelists don't have many votes, so I don't really care what they think. It's the people that I'm concerned about.
I mean, you gotta convince people, and that takes time.
Yeah, but you know, as you can see from the polling, the people are convinced to a large degree, and 40% of them still don't even know who I am.
You were a little harsh on us on our debate.
Well, I want everybody's voice to be heard, and I understand that Fox is looking at a way to make sure that all the voices get heard, which is what I would expect. I wouldn't necessarily expect that of some of the other networks.
That first Republican presidential debate right here on Fox will be held August 6th in Cleveland. In the release announcing the criteria for the debate, Fox News' Executive Vice President of News Editorial, Michael Clementi, noted that Fox News will provide additional coverage and airtime on August 6th to those candidates who do not place in the top 10. President Obama is sending almost 500 American troops back to Iraq. So does this mean he's admitting he should not have brought them home in the first place? We'll ask the panel when we return.